Hello, Jim Howard here in Fort Worth, Texas. Today's date it is October 12th of 2021. It's 2:15 a.m. in the morning, and I moved the microphone over closer. I forgot to turn off the fish tank. The fish tank has a lot of algae in it. I need to do something about it. I wish now I had not set up that 20-gallon tank. And of course, the winter storm came through where we lost power here in Texas because of the Texas power grid. I forget, 230 people were killed or something because the Texas power grid had to turn off power to certain areas because the Texas power grid doesn't work. And at that time, we were without electricity here for 3 or 4 days. Actually, what was supposed to happen was the power grid in a situation like that would turn off power to a certain area. And after a couple hours, 2 or 3 hours, then they would switch and it would go and cut off. It would return power and it would then turn off power to this other area for 2 or 3 hours. That's not the way a power grid, that's not the way, a modern civilization should work, but that would have worked, and I wouldn't have been saying bad things about the Texas power grid for the rest of my life. I'm 80 years old, so I won't be bad-mouthing them for very long. But what happened is we were like, I think, the first area it was turned off to. I forget how many were in our, but they turned the power off, and then after 2 or 3 hours, they, in their control room, I don't think you should call it a control room, but then they hit the switch to turn off the power in the next area, and they couldn't do it, and they couldn't, I guess, cut off the power to the area that they had cut, that they had put, where they couldn't restore it, and it was just, it was, Texas engineering, I think. If you have a business or whatever, don't move your business to Texas unless it's cattle. Hey, and if you have to wear a cowboy hat or something, this is the place for you. If you're trying to operate a business here, I wouldn't recommend it. Do I sound bitter? Well, 2 of my plecostomus catfish died because it was so cold in here after 3 days. And one Coriodoris catfish, and I got a whole bunch of shrimp that survived, little tiny live-bearing shrimp. They survived. But I haven't been able to get out to pick up another plecostomus catfish and maybe a few others. But I really wish that I hadn't set up the tank. I could actually use that space over there. I could use that thing that the 20-gallon high tank is sitting on. What did I want to talk about? I went back to my G910 keyboard. I'm still using the Blue Yeti microphone. I've got the sound card, the Sound Blaster sound card hooked up. It's working. What I really need it for is, and that's what it does, is the audio in with the 3.5, jack, it doesn't work. Well, it works, but it's noisy. You heard it if you listened to some of the videos a while back. So that USB device takes care of that, and so that's why I'm using it. let's see how, well, maybe, let me, now let's go here. There you go. That handsome devil. Actually, I was never handsome. I was a cute kid until it got to the age when you want girls to think you're cute or something, and then I wasn't cute anymore. I remember I had when I was in high school or whatever, I had a bedroom voice. I remember years ago, maybe when I first met the woman that I married, the girl that I married when she was 18 and I was 26. Anyway, I was telling her one of my stories, which she really doesn't want to hear any of my stories. But I mentioned that I had a bedroom voice, and she laughed. Because I don't think she thought there was anything attractive about me, really. At least that's what she told me when she decided she wanted a divorce. That she never loved me, never found me attractive, and et cetera, et cetera. Made my day. The way the bedroom voice thing came up, that's too close. Some of my school friends came over and said, Jim, we got this number of this girl, he knew, I guess he went to school with her or something, girls, they were together, the girls were together at their places. Jim, call this girl, for us. And I said, why don't you call? No, you do it better, So I called up, and I can't remember what I said exactly, but this is whoever, somebody with Teen Magazine, and we're doing an interview of teenagers, and I'd like to ask you some questions, and so then I asked, I forget, and then I got to have a few more questions, like, and I forget what they were, but it was like, what do you wear when you go to bed? Do you wear, pajamas? You're nude? Do you, have a whatever? And they they didn't hesitate to, they went ahead. And then of course I went a little further, and I can't, then I went a little bit further, and then they said, wait a minute, who is this? And who are you? And so then I put the other guy on the phone, let's say his name was Bobby, this is Bobby. And then the girls wanted to know, who was that on the phone? Well, that's just, Jim, a friend of mine or whatever. Jimmy, I might have said Jimmy, I don't remember then. And what does he look like? I can't remember the conversation. So the girl said, we want to see him. We want to meet him. So we got in the car, drove up to Allen's Drive-In. That was a place where you could drive in and eat. I don't even know if you could go inside that place. There were some of them that you just drove up and pulled in there, and you'd use an intercom and tell them what you want, and then a girl would either bring it out, walk out with it, and hook it on your window, or might roller skate. The girls might roller skate, or something like that. But so anyway, we were up there, and we weren't in the car. I guess we wanted the girls, So anyway, here comes the carload of girls, teenage girls. They pulled through, and so they knew the other boys. Let's say there were 3 of them, and then I was like the 4th one. And they pulled in, stopped the car in the driveway or whatever, and then looked at me and, laughed, and they drove away. So the rest of me did not. But anyway, this is me actually a few years later than that. That's my shortwave radio, Helicrafters radio, and I got my hand on the antenna tuner. That's I did shortwave listening from like 1954 or something like that, up until I got married at age 26, and the wife, she didn't like the sound of the static in the background or something like that. And even if I did it in the other room, or something. So that was sort of the end of, well, always, kept up with it a little bit. But the time when I spent that shortwave listening, I mean, I was big into it. I was like an expert, I did a radio program that was broadcast over shortwave radio 3 times a week to Europe, Africa, and Latin America, multiple frequencies of Radio New York Worldwide, WRUL. But I've thought, if I'd have just gone to college, I mean, later on I did I did go to community college for a little while. Didn't get an associate's degree, however, because I only took the subjects that I liked or that I needed. But I've thought, if I'd have just put 1/20th of the effort that I put into the shortwave radio thing into like getting an education, things would have been different maybe for me. For some reason, this picture, by the way, I was into photography too. Been to a lot of astronomy. See, not astrology, but astronomy. But for some reason, that picture made me think of back in the olden days, back in the 40s and 50s, here in the United States, carnivals and circuses would come to town. Since we were in Missouri and the winters could be bad, I don't think they came during the winter. But I mean, they had other, but it was like a lot of them were family owned, and I guess for generations they had been doing it. And what they would do is come to some place like Kansas. They'd go everywhere, but they had their, I think during the winter, I guess it varied with some of them, I think during the winter they went and just lived down in Florida. I'm sure there were some that would travel, to Arizona, New Mexico, and places that were warm during the winter. But they would come to town and they would set up in a vacant lot or a parking lot of a mall of some type, shopping mall or something. Not the shopping malls that we used. Well, now they're closing up and going out a bit. Not the giant. These were smaller malls, shopping strip malls. But they would set up, and it seemed to me like it was like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then they would move on. But I can't picture them not working for. I can't see them if they worked Friday. If they set up for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. They set up their rides, they set up their booze. Of course, there was a difference, carnival and, circus. They had rides and stuff. But I can't picture them, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Of course, it took them a while to, that was right, they had to take their stuff down, load it on their trucks. And so maybe that was it. But what would happen, they'd set up in your neighborhood and we would all go, the kids, you know, and then they would tear it down. Well, they would move usually. I guess it depended on, again, the town. They would move not very far, and we could have walked over, but I think we usually rode our bikes over because it wasn't very far, and there they were again. I think if you watch some old movies, you may see mention made of something like a kid ran away and joined the circus or joined the carnival or something like that. If you're watching that old movie, you'd be kind of like, what? I mean, you might think, well, yeah, some kid one time, but what it was, this thing would come and set up, and they would always they had their family, and then they had a few workers probably that, maybe were boyfriend, with some girl who was part of the, something, but, they would set up, and they had the carnival booths or whatever, and not with me, because I had entered the not attractive stage. Like I said, I had the attractive stage when I was, a little kid. Oh, how cute, Oh, gross. But you'd go there and be riding the rides or throwing the ball to knock down the pins or whatever it was. And sometimes there'd be girls that were working there, and their parents or whatever, and their brothers, were part of the family that moved from place to place. But I think there was sometimes like, oh, you're, and why don't you come? And especially if they needed somebody, they'd probably tell this kid, hey, would you like adventure? Come join ours, And of course, I wonder how, they probably went to the next place, which was still in town, and maybe the next place was still in town. And then when they got to the next place, by then, bye-bye, there was probably somebody cuter than they were or something. But wish I could remember movies where something like that's been mentioned. But anyway, the software, one of the functions which I think I hit the wrong key one time when I tried. So if I disappear, okay, I'm using webcam, I'm using Manicam. Oops. I think that if I hit F9, it will pause and then resume. Then I can hit F9 and resume recording. So I'm eventually at some point here going to do that. And if you never see me again, I probably transported to some other planet, an echo planet or something. Echo? That's not it. It is 2:32 a.m. I haven't taken my night medicine yet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sometimes I drop one, and then, the hell with it. Sometimes I load these things up like 7 or 8 days at a time. I've got a thing, I'm sure you've seen it. It like 31 of these things in this, slide in there. And there's a morning, noon, evening, and night. I use the morning and the night. And so I used to do 31 of them. And I'm too tired, too tired to do that now, so I do like 8 at a time. Sometimes, like, some of these pills are like twice a day, some 1 a day, and so sometimes I think the ones that are twice a day, morning and night, I'm filling these things up and I put it in, and then I forget to do the night one, so I have a whole week of not having my night medicine or something for one of them or more, and I don't care. I'm not sure that, well, I think the heart medicine I definitely need to take. Well, I definitely need to take the prostate medicine, or I'd be oh, in bad shape. I'd be at the emergency room and, in pain, and I actually, I experienced that because the first doctor I went to when I started having the problem, well, when I first got it, I ignored it for a while. And of course it got worse, and then when I finally went to the doctor, the doctor said, I think you got prostate problem, you need to see a urologist. And so he said, you want me to make I said, no, I'll pick one out. So, because I wanted to pick one out close. And of course I must have picked out the worst urologist in the United States. Maybe he was just the worst in Miami. But anyway, the doctor that I saw, the general practitioner or internist, whatever he was, he gave me some meds for the prostate, prescription. And I started taking them. I got better. Because it took me several weeks to get to see the urologist, because he's so busy, So they're so busy, So I was in much better shape. The medicine too that I was getting, they were helping. I'm not going to go through this whole thing because I mentioned this several times. Anyway, I went to see this new, and he didn't listen to my heart, do lab work. He didn't do anything. He just set me down in his office, and then he started yelling and screaming at me, "Who told you to take these medications?" And I said, and I didn't want to get I didn't want to get the doctor that I'd gone to, I didn't want to get him involved because this guy is screaming and hollering. And I said, well, I went to a doctor, and, he checked me and said they thought I had some prostate problems maybe, and that I should see an expert. I made sure to see an expert, to see, a urologist, so that's why I'm here. Well, who told, And so then he said, okay, well, and then he was like, and I said, well, should I not be taking it? No, you shouldn't be taking it. And I said, well, okay. And I said, but it helped. And he's yelling at me still. I should have just went and, well, later on I should have gone. If I'd have gone then, I wasn't able to. I was in extreme agony every 30 minutes for days. Because they told me not to take the medicine. What I should have done just then is I should just have beat the crap out of I just should have beat the crap out of him. But I didn't know. And then later, when I wanted to beat the crap out of him, I wasn't able to do it. Well, I'd have done more than, I actually would have done more than, I was in agony every 30, and I called him and had difficulty getting in contact with him. And then finally, I called 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and nurse or office staff, oh, he's not here, he does surgery every afternoon. I said, no, please call earlier. So I called 11 in the morning or something or other. Oh no, he's not, he's not here, he's doing such and such. So then I called 8 or 9 in the morning or something, and a guy answered. And I had no idea that it was the doctor would actually answer. I answered, or a guy answered answered a phone. And this is Dr. So-and-so. And then I said, and then he started yelling at me, wow, I said, I'm in extreme agony. I'm in, every 30 minutes, I'm crying every 30 minutes with the pain. And he was like, well, do you want to take that medicine? He remembered that part. I don't know why. He remembered me. Why did he, And I said, I want the pain to stop. And he said, well, if you want to, take the medicine. I said, okay. So I started taking the medicine. And then I got better and got better and got better. And then I went in for the exam that he did. They shoot a needle into your prostate. They go through your rectum. And they shoot and when he was doing that, at that point, I don't know, I should have just, well, no, I was in pain. I'd been in pain. I thought, this guy maybe he actually, they're looking for cancer, and it didn't hurt. and there was no medicine. There wasn't any deadener or anything, given. Uh, he's got like a gun, and it's like boom or whatever, air pressure or something, I guess. And I thought, it wouldn't surprise me if he wasn't putting cancer in, you know, so then he could, go in and, so, I picked out the worst doctor that I could. I left a thing on a medical site, but nobody else had commented about him, and nobody still has commented about him. Mine's the only comment, remarks about this guy. That shows you something needs to be done, because there's too many sites that are set up by people that have advertising or something that they want to, and there needs to be fewer sites, so that because like I said, it's been years and he still has my negative comment and no other comments at all. So system is not working right. By the way, speaking of the system not working right, just need to go to YouTube. YouTube stuff. Need to go here. Supply chain. I think this is it. This is from yesterday. This is caused by 10 thumbs up. That's good. Okay, one comment from Terry in the UK. What I was talking about was the supply chain. There's more and more stories appearing about the supply chain. Truck drivers aren't available, over-the-road truck drivers. Well, that's what this video is about. And it's not very long. But anyway, cargo ships are parked off the coast, east and west coast, I guess. Cargo ships all the dock spaces are filled. Cargo ships are, I guess it looked like the Normandy landing or something, and as far as you can see, I guess, are, in this case, cargo ships. And it just, not enough truck drivers, and the supply chain there's not enough truck drivers, not enough people working at the dock, not enough, just, there's plenty of ships out there wanting to get into the ports with stuff. When they get into the ports, they got to be unloaded, and then the stuff that they unload has got to go on to, rail cars or onto, trucks. But anyway, so this is what this video is about. And by the way, on CNN's front page now, they've got, that gasoline prices are going to are skyrocketing. And they talk more about the supply chain problems, which are bad. And Terry says, 19 hours ago here, don't worry, it's just as bad in the UK. Plus we have massive high gas prices, and the government is really scaremongering, saying Christmas may be canceled. What I want to say to Terry is, God, don't say that. Before the recent craziness, which is insane, the political situation here in the United States, before that, go back further a little ways, well, quite a ways, really. And the right-wing Republicans here in the United States, we really have basically two parties. The Republicans and the Democrats. You don't hear any more about the Green Party. Actually, for a long time, we had a Communist Party, the Communist Party of the United States. They ran candidates for president, and probably the people today would not even, well, actually, I don't remember that. I'm 80. I just don't remember the communist. Well, I think I probably do. Yeah, they were up, but I mean, nobody, when I say nobody, but anyway, a while back, we have the Republican Party, the Democratic Party. I attended a meeting of the Green, the Green Party or whatever at church, and I was there to join up, and then I was there, and I was like, these people they have no idea. No wonder they're not going to go, not going to go any place. And that was my first contact with them, and I'd been blogging stuff, like in favor of green peas and that type of stuff, blogging on my blog. I never really had any contact with them, so I went to it and I was ready to, join them and support them. And then I'm looking around there and I'm thinking, they're not going to get any votes. Well, they hadn't been getting any votes, and I thought, they're never going to get any votes here in the United States. Not even in California, I don't think. So they were picking candidates who was going, they were deciding among themselves, like who was going to be the candidate for mayor and for different positions, stuff like that. And I don't remember them coming up with anything about, it might have been between, elections for president. I can't remember, but I do remember they were picking the guy who was going to be running for mayor. And homophobic alert. Beep, beep, beep. Don't watch this or you're going to get upset. So that, they say, oh, well, let's say Bill Smith. Now Bill Smith, he's, blah, blah, blah. This is and then Bill Smith gets up. Okay, I can't do it, good, but, okay now. And I thought, oh my God. He's gay, yes. He's obviously gay. He's flamboyantly gay. Nobody's going to vote for that. They're not going to vote for, well, there'll be a few gay guys that will vote for him, but the rest of people are not going to. So, yes, I said, can I say something? I'm new here, first time here. I don't really know any of you people, and then I said, I have nothing against homosexuals. And of course, that's probably something you don't want to say, because immediately, okay, here comes a racist or homophobic or whatever. But I said, with, did I say Smith? With Mr. Smith here as the top of the, ballot, and with being so obviously gay, the rest of the people are not going to vote for for him or for the rest of the ticket. And I forget, they didn't throw me out or anything. They didn't hit me. They didn't cuss me out, so that's a good thing for them. But I knew I wasn't welcome. I think they were looking daggers at me and ignoring what I said. So I just sat there for the rest of the time and made my exit. Never went back. Never thought of the Green Party again. And by the way, when the election took place, I went to look at, we had newspapers, well, we still have newspapers, I think, but I went to look and see how the election went. They had the results, the Democratic voters, and the Republican voters, and they didn't even list the Green Party's votes. And I think eventually I saw, and I think the only people who voted, basically almost, I'm exaggerating, I think the only people who voted for the Green Party were the 50 or so people that were in that room when I was there, Anyway, Terry said, he says, he's in the UK, don't worry, it's just as bad in the UK. Plus, we have massive high gas prices, and the government is really scaremongering, saying Christmas may be canceled. I've heard it before, hyperbole. I've never used that word before. I'm going to use it, hyperbole, because I think hyperbole, I can't even say it now, because I've never said it before. I think that's when you make a statement that is, we could look it up with a definition, but we're not going to do it. I think that's when you make a statement that is so wild that it stands out like, wow, that's a really crazy statement, Not crazy like the Trump crazy stuff, but crazy like, But the Republicans, we have two parties here. Well, we have more, but probably if you ask the average American, are there any other? If you ask him, I bet you if you ask Americans, did the Communist Party of the United States ever run I got to look that up. Well, let me finish this. Nope. That's it. A while back, the Republicans, for political purposes, they come up with all kinds of stuff. And I guess it must have been around Christmas when they first came up with it. And I don't know who exactly, but I guess some Republicans someplace went to Walmart or someplace and went in, and there was a sign. I'm sure there were all kinds of Christmas, all the merchandise would say Merry Christmas. But they must have had a sign up that said season's greetings or something. And then somebody started this thing that the Democrats, because they were atheist and communist and everything else, were attempting to destroy Christmas, and they were going to do away with Christmas, do away with Christ, do away with Christmas, And that became their mantra. That became their thing. They would use it every year. They would use it that the Democrats are going to do away with Christmas, and then they would come up with something, I purchased candy canes, and it said season's greetings on it, and that was the thing. And then people who were just mildly stupid and crazy. Did I say that? I could edit that out, but that was their thing. I work with some people. Well, the Democrats want to do away with Christmas. Nobody wants to do away with Christmas. We got kids, the kids. We got to get the kids to bed early so we can put the toys together for them. And Christmas is great, and we all like getting Christmas presents and giving Christmas. No, the Democrats are trying to do away with. They're going to do away with Christmas. Oh God, And that seemed. But anyway, the Republicans used that. They constantly use things. But now, of course, it's gotten it progressed. That was kind of funny in the beginning, when they would say that the Democrats wanted to do away with Christmas because of Christ and religion or whatever. And at the beginning, it was like, I was like, oh, yeah, And then you saw that it became, they believed it. Then they became hostile because you were going to take Christmas away from their, Although the Christians, I worked with them, that, and I made a mistake. I finally learned, I'd say, oh, did your kids go out for Halloween? Oh, no, we don't believe in Halloween. What? It's a satanic thing. People are trying to, turn kids into pagans, and it's all a plot, and this Halloween is, So, okay, there were, if, I'm there again. I bet you anything. You want to go around and ask some, let's see. I hope this Google figures it out. Okay, I didn't do it. Okay, it should be Communist Party of the United States. I guess I have to do that. Okay, this is already not interesting. And say, okay, here we go. There you go. It still exists. Yeah, I mean, these Republicans are going so crazy, but also they don't realize that. Say, when did they? I know they've run them up to, in my memory. Well, I should have really known that the Communist Party was still in existence. I would have, I would have joined. I, oh, what's the name of it? The organization that supports the Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments to the Constitution. You know, the First Amendment, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of whatever, you know, Second Amendment, gun rights, and, you know, just through the rest of them. That's what the anyway, I joined it. I mean, you know, I paid membership for it. I had a membership card because I knew what was coming. And so I couldn't wait, really, until the Republicans started attacking the and their president, whoever it was, Bush, I think. Was it Bush? Running for president. Ford. It was Ford, I believe. Ford was not a bad guy, actually. Republican, but not a bad guy. But that was one of the things they were using. Probably, you know, that Democrats were trying to destroy Christmas and American Civil Liberties Union. Anyway, I joined to get a membership card because I knew it was coming. And then when it came, you know, I came into work and they were waiting for me at work. Luckily, it was I came in at that time at 10 o'clock, I think, p.m. And there was no other patients. But the ER doctor was there, the head ER nurse, the other ER nurse, the guy from the lab, and somebody else, and they were waiting for me to come in. Jim, whoever it was, Dukakis, I think. who wasn't a very good candidate for the Democrats, but anybody's better than a Republican. And let's see. Okay, I think it looks like, hey, why not have your site and then ask somebody to right away donate. But anyway, I came in and Jim, what about the American Civil Liberties Union? The caucus is a member of it. And I said, why is that bad? Yes, that's bad. The American Civil Liberties Union, that's terrible. And I forget, they probably said, something, And I said, no, the American Civil Liberties Union, supports and defends that's their sole purpose, the first 10 amendments to the Constitution of the United States. I turned to the lady that home was, didn't have a television set because she was, religious. Didn't have, kids didn't go to school because she was religious, had 7 kids or what. They protect the First Amendment, freedom of religion. They protect freedom of speech. And I went through the, through the things. I said, you mean to tell me that President Ford doesn't support the Constitution of the United States? He's supposed to swear an oath to protect and defend it, and that includes the 10 amendments to the Constitution. Our founding fathers, when they drew up the Constitution, they said, okay, we're drawing this up and we're signing it, but on the condition that amendments are added to protect, freedom of religion, freedom of blah, blah, and they said, oh, no, it's, how can, and I said, well, how can you vote for somebody who doesn't, a president, who doesn't support the Constitution? He has to swear an oath. Everybody has to swear an oath to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States, and he's not a member of the ACLU. How can you vote for him? Oh, they're just terrible people and all that kind of stuff. And I said, do you want to see my ACLU card? You don't belong to the ACLU. I said, yes, I do. No, you don't. And I said, and I pulled it out. That was so much fun. I knew it was coming. It was worth the membership fee just to see them explode, see their heads explode. So, I just can't really afford to support everything, I really should have continued my membership, and I don't remember if I told them. In I think it was Kansas, there was the ACLU, which is supposed to be, according to the a lawyer for free. There was a small town in Kansas, and a whole bunch of Muslim people settled there. I'm not sure exactly how how it went, whether there was always, or whether it just turned out that it was a small town and a family came over, and then another maybe told the other family members and other people from their place, hey, this place is pretty nice, and it's sort of like our home back in whatever country, Saudi Arabia or Iraq or Iran or whatever, except we don't kill each other over here over religion, and stuff. I don't know but anyway, it turned out the small town, was like 80% Muslim, and I don't know which version of, Sunni or whatever the other one is. We need one church, the Holy Roman Holy Roman Catholic Church. It'd be so much easier. Catholic Church, Jewish religion. That's where we failed, Martin Luther King. Yep, we had our chance. Anyway, I'm teasing a little bit, just a little bit. Anyway, these Muslims moved down, and there's a Baptist church there, of course. Everywhere there's a Baptist church. Here there's a Baptist church. There's a Baptist church. Here's a Baptist church. What's that over there? Baptist church. One time, I think I was in high school, and they, across the United States, they were doing the Catholic Church was doing a survey of, like a census, to find out, how many Catholics there were and where they were, so you could build another church, or you could change the diocese, change the borders of it or something like that. So we took buses down, a bunch of us, down to South Missouri. And actually there was a few Catholics there. I think they met us and had some sandwiches for us or something, and we spent the day going door to door. There weren't many Catholics there, that's for sure. And of course everybody knew that. But got sidetracked again, and I had an important thing to say, but you probably can tell I always hate it that I always have. I'm not wiping my ass here. I'm not one of these people that's like a game player or something that doesn't leave. It's from my nose. It runs sometimes too much. Anyway, I need to do some more straightening up around here. Whoa, what was I going to look up? ACLU. Oh, I still want to look up. Come on. Communist Party. Okay, do we have a history? Constitution. History, okay. I think fairly recently, let's see. Communism, definitely would not work in the United States, and it didn't. It's not. Well, of course, China's, like half the world or something, but it wouldn't work, here for us, and nobody would. Well, you always got somebody. Well, here's some people here. At least they can afford a website. They probably still do. What was it called? They had a newsletter, like a magazine or a newspaper or something that was put out. And I guess I was wrong, because I remember saying, and I probably was a kid, what was it called? Daily Worker. The Daily Worker. I guess I could have just used Wikipedia and looked up Communist Party of the United States. I should have done that. Anyway, I said, they can't, they can't support, they can't get enough subscribers for and by the way, I put out a couple small publications, not about communism or politics, about other things. Uh, Back a long time ago. Um, but I said, they can't have enough people. There's not enough people. Even during that, of course, I didn't remember but I know the history. Even during the Great Depression and things were really bad, and the Communist Party was out. Okay, now's our chance. Hey, we can get some people, and they probably got a few, but not many. The American people, as bad as things were, they wanted the American system of government. By the way, I have absolutely no problem with socialism. There's a difference. Now, the Republicans have done a great job of, and I blogged about that a long time ago too. That that they were successful. Now, if for those people, and for a bunch of Democrats too, if you say, Sweden and Denmark, and those are socialist countries. The Republicans are like, oh, communism, I have absolute socialism would be just great for the United States. Actually, we sort of have it. Medicare and Social Security, all the best things that we have, all the things that all Americans love. Well, not all Americans. You got some. Oh my God, I can't believe how what has happened to us, to the United States. It's an embarrassment. I'm not doing any travel. I swear to God, I've heard about in the past that because of people not wanting to go overseas and be like attacked or something, so that people from the United States, like we're all Canada and United States and Mexico, we're all Americans. This is North America or whatever. But that a lot of Canadians, or a lot of Americans, from the United States, who are going to go take a trip or something or other. Well, one, I think they're told, don't wear Harvard T-shirts, don't do that kind of. You're just making yourself a target for, But people like want to go to Europe or something or other, and you get over there and they're asked, are you from the United States? No, Canada. Just so they don't have to go through the, The Daily Worker was a newspaper published in New York City by the Communist Party. And it turned out, by the way, yeah, that's right. I said a long time ago, blogged, and talked about the fact that that there was money coming in from the USSR, now Russia, or something. And it turned out, I remember reading or watching on television or on the internet or something, that one thing that the Communist Party of the United States, always said was that, what's that movie? Is it Reds? If you want to get an idea about, the history of the United States and the Communist Party and that whole thing, that is an if you're not interested in, maybe politics or history or something, maybe not, but I think it's called Reds. And it comes out, in there, and that's the thing, that, and that's the thing too, like when I went to that Green Party, I could see, and I'm not sure if I mentioned there, I might have, that, the problem is, we can't be successful because we're going to fight with each other over, some principle or some thing, and that's exactly what the Communist Party did. They were, radical and true believers, which are kind of scary, and they would fight over, where a dot went or a comma or something. It was just doomed. Let's see, the orange yeah, no, let's see. Oh, come on, maybe it's got to tell me that or someplace. Popular Front, post-World War II. Wow. The membership of the American Communist Party had fallen to around 20,000 people in 1956. Wow. The Communist Party of the USA. See, that was they sort of claimed, that they were independent. It's the Communist Party of the United States. Now, we believe in communism, and Russia's where, the USSR is where it all began and all that type of stuff. But then they, whatever the Communist Party said, so, like the Communist Party was, so the United States, of course, Communist Party, they were against Germany before the start of World War II. They were opposed to, Germany because of Nazism and that kind of stuff. And then as soon as Germany started invading, countries, and of course the Communist Party was, oh, terrible, terrible. And then Hitler made a deal, surprised everybody in the world, I guess. Made a deal to divide up Poland, and so then the Communist Party of the United States, oh no, Germany's good. And that's the way it was, no matter, and I just saw here that the Communist Party of the United States supported Russia's invasion of Hungary when that happened. And okay, well, anyway, I'm not going to take any more of your time. If somebody knows, but you will be suspect. Your name will be, oh, you weren't even looking at what I was looking at. Sorry about that. If you know what elections that the Communist Party of the United, well, I'm not going to take it. This has been, I think, this is 1 hour video, and that's enough. So, oh, wait a minute, I want to try something. Okay, I'm going to, I may be back. I'm going to hit the F9 key. F9, there it is. I'm going to hit the F9 key. That should pause. And then I'm going to take off my mask, and you will see the true me. And anyway, I'm going to hit F9. Then I'm going to wait a little bit. Then I'm going to hit F9 again and see if it comes back. And it records on to the end of that thing. So don't touch the mouse. Well, I hit the F9. Maybe I have to click on it, then hit the F9. No. Okay, that does not work for me. This is a programmable keyboard. I think once or twice I did program something in. That's what I need to do, is program some stuff in like that. But anyway, I'm back, and I appreciate you watching. Thank you very much.